Yeah. So this is something that's very concerning. Mitch McConnell and Senate rhinos help pass Ukraine funding package that includes language for automatic impeachment if Trump terminates funding for Ukraine war. A ridiculous notion. And hopefully, it's the kind of thing that you can just get rid of. Especially if the election goes as it probably should, and you'll end up with enough force in Congress as well as the presidency to change laws. In an unusual session held on Super Bowl Sunday, the US Senate voted to move forward a substantial $95 billion aid package that will support Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan with no southern border security provisions. Now, to be clear, there were provisions in there that related to the border initially, and they were removed. The reason they were removed, and the reason that they should have been removed, is that it's exactly the kind of bullshit you always see from the US Congress when the bill is establishment. It's where they, on the surface, sound like they're doing something good, but in actuality and in the way they're implemented, allow for things to get much worse. It's exactly how it was designed. That's why it didn't pass. The vote garnered support from rhinos with a final tally of 67 to 27. Bear in mind, that's 27 senators, quarter of the Senate, who are against sending a bunch of money to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, which means they're probably either MAGA or MAGA sympathetic. So don't be discouraged, chat. It takes patience, but we are gaining ground. We are gaining actual measurable position. Yes, okay, plank it is. According to The Hill, Schumer offered Republicans the chance to vote on amendments in exchange for expediting the legislative process. Quote, by a vote of 67 to 27, the Senate invoked cloture? No idea what that means. On Murray substitute amendment, whatever, legislative vehicle, etc. 67 senators voted in favor of war funding, while 27 senators opposed the expenditure, all of whom were Republicans. On Super Bowl Sunday, the following 18 Republican senators supported the Ukraine war funding. I think we've read these already. So this is a supplementary story about something else in there. On Monday morning, Trump-supporting Senator J.D. Vance posted a stunning report on X. According to Senator Vance, the Senate funding package includes language that makes it impossible for President Trump to terminate the Ukraine war funding into his second term. The language was inserted into the aid package with President Trump in mind. These dirty rhinos, says the Gateway Pundit, and Democrats voted on a bill that will send endless billions to Ukraine no matter how dire the situation is on the ground. Quote, buried in the bill's text is an impeachment time bomb for the next Trump presidency if he tries to stop funding the war in Ukraine. We must vote against this disastrous bill, Senator Vance wrote. 17 Republican rhinos supported this package. Senator Vance sent the following memo to every Republican lawmaker in Congress. The Ukraine supplemental includes a hidden impeachment clause against President Trump. Background. The President Trump was wrongfully impeached by the partisan Pelosi-led House of Representatives on December 18, 2019. At the core of the impeachment was a pause on funds appropriated to Ukraine. $391 million in security assistance, $251 million through the Department of Defense Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, and $141 million through the state Department's Foreign Military Financing Program. The false argument put forward by Democrats was or is as follows. As President Trump had allegedly paused these funds because he wished to see the corrupt nexus between the Biden family and Ukraine investigated, President Trump had abused his power with the aim of interfering with the US presidential election. Page 425 of the committee report on the first impeachment states the president froze military assistance to Ukraine against US national security interests, so that is very debatable, that part, of course, and over the objections of career experts. I don't care what the experts say. That's the reason you have a president in the first place, to overrule when the experts are wrong. The impeachment inquiry report states the president did so despite the long-standing bipartisan support of Congress, uniform support across federal departments and agencies for the provision to Ukraine of the military assistance, and his obligations under the Empowerment Control Act. Supplemental impeachment time bomb. President Trump has said in regards to the war in Ukraine, quote, we got to get that war settled and I'll get it settled. He has stated that he would resolve the war in 24 hours. A bold claim, which, regardless, I believe is possibly true, because it's Trump. The bill includes $1.6 billion for foreign military financing in Ukraine and $13.7 billion for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. These funds expire on September 30th, 2025, nearly a year into the possible second term of President Trump. These are the exact same accounts President Trump was impeached for pausing in December 2019. Every single House Republican voted against this impeachment resolution. If President Trump were to withdraw from or pause financial support for the war in Ukraine in order to bring the conflict to a peaceful conclusion, quote, over the objections of career experts, it would amount to the same fake violation of budget law from the first impeachment under markedly similar facts and circumstances. Partisan Democrats would seize on the opportunity to impeach him once again. The Washington Post has reported that tying President Trump's hands on foreign policy is very much top of the mind for Biden admin officials who are openly boasting about their plans. The background quote is damning. Not incidentally, a US official said, the hope is that the long-term promise, again assuming congressional buy-in, will also future-proof aid for Ukraine against the possibility that former President Donald Trump wins his re-election bid. Conclusion, the supplemental represents an attempt by the Foreign Office, blob/deep state, to stop President Trump from pursuing his desired policy, and if he does so anyway, to provide grounds to impeach him and undermine his administration. All Republicans should oppose its passage. Okay, so the funding will end halfway into Trump's presidency, and it's something that the Democrats impeached him for before, which is all you needed to say, really. That's not the same thing as what I thought this was. I thought that it was something explicit. What he's referred to there could actually just be coincidental timing. HFNH says the president knocking the funding out from under a bill is not an impeachable offense. Yeah, I would agree that it shouldn't be. However, impeachment should be able to happen for pretty much anything. Should it? No. But it should be able to. There shouldn't be any hard restrictions on what can cause it. But I agree, that is not something that you should impeach for. You know, unless it has much worse ramifications. But stopping funding to Ukraine has nothing to do with the US, and the US should not be involved. And there's no good argument that they should, and plenty of good arguments to suspect that Ukraine is in fact just where US taxpayer money is being sent so that it can be laundered back into the hands of those sending it there, which has probably been happening for years, and there's even some good evidence of it. Let's move on from that.